The brown horse fell down in the middle of the town square. His legs shook, and then he could not stand anymore. Dust flew up around his body when he hit the ground. It was noon and the sun was very hot. The town of Red Rock was quiet except for the sound of the horse breathing hard. People came out from the stores and saloons. They looked at the horse, but nobody helped. The horse was so thin. His bones showed through his skin. His brown coat was dirty and covered with dried blood. There were cuts on his sides where someone had hit him many times. His mouth had white foam and blood mixed together. A woman put her hand over her mouth. She looked scared and sad, but she did not move closer. An old man shook his head, but he also stayed back. A group of cowboys stood near the saloon. They pointed at the horse and laughed. "That horse is weak," one cowboy said loudly. "He cannot even walk through town without falling down." The horse tried to lift his head. His big brown eyes looked around. He was afraid and in pain. His front left leg was hurt badly. It bent in a wrong way. The hurt happened days ago, but nobody fixed it. Now it was too late. The leg would never work right again. Flies buzzed around the open wounds on his body. The horse's breathing was fast and shallow. Each breath looked painful. His hooves were broken and bleeding. He had no horseshoes. He must have walked very far on rocks and hard ground. Standing next to the horse was a tall man in expensive clothes. His name was William Stone. He owned the biggest ranch near Red Rock. Everyone knew him. Everyone was afraid of him. He wore a black hat and shiny boots. In his hand he held a riding whip made of leather. "Get up, you stupid animal," Stone said in an angry voice. "I have business to do, and you are wasting my time." The horse did not move. He could not move. His body had no strength left. Stone's face turned red. He raised the whip high in the air. A young girl in the crowd started to cry. "Mr. Stone, please do not hit him. The horse is sick. He needs water and help." Stone looked at the girl with cold eyes. "This horse is mine. I paid money for him. He will do what I say or he will die." The crowd got bigger. More people came to see what was happening. They whispered to each other. Some looked angry. Some looked sad. But nobody stepped forward to stop Stone. He was too powerful. He owned land. He knew the sheriff. People who made him angry lost their jobs or had to leave town. The horse lay on the ground very still now. Only his chest moved up and down with each breath. The breathing was getting slower, weaker. The horse's eyes started to close. He was giving up. After days of pain and hunger and being hit, his body could not fight anymore. What the people did not know was this horse was special. His name was Desert Wind. He came from a line of famous horses. His grandfather was a cavalry horse in the war. That horse had saved soldiers' lives. He ran through danger when other horses would stop. He was brave and strong and never gave up. Desert Wind had that same blood, that same heart. But William Stone did not care about that. Stone bought Desert Wind 2 years ago from a family that was moving away. The family cried when they sold him. They had no choice. They needed the money. Stone paid $100 for Desert Wind. It was good money. The family thought their horse would have a good life on a big ranch. They were wrong. Stone rode Desert Wind hard every day. He never let the horse rest. He could not give him enough food or water. When Desert Wind got tired, Stone hit him with the whip. Desert Wind had carried Stone across the territory many times, through heat and cold, through rain and snow. The horse never complained. He just did his job. But horses are not machines. They can only take so much. Desert Wind's body was breaking down. The cuts on his sides were infected. Yellow pus leaked from the wounds. His ribs showed clearly through his skin because he had not eaten a real meal in weeks. Stone had ridden Desert Wind for 3 days straight. They went to Silver City for business. Stone did not stop to let the horse drink water. He did not let him eat grass. When they camped at night, Stone tied the horse to a tree. He did not give him food. He just threw a blanket on the ground for himself and went to sleep. On the second day, Desert Wind stepped in a hole. His front leg twisted wrong. The bone cracked. The horse screamed in pain, but Stone just kicked him and made him keep walking. By the third day, the leg was very bad. But Stone would not stop. He wanted to get back to Red Rock. His business was more important than a horse. Now they were here, in the middle of town. And Desert Wind could not go any further. His body was shutting down. The pain was too much. The hunger and thirst were too much. Everything was too much. Stone raised his whip again. His face was purple with rage. The leather whip whistled through the air as it came down toward the horse's body. But the whip never hit. A hand caught Stone's arm and stopped it. The grip was strong like iron. Stone's eyes went wide with surprise. He turned to see who dared to touch him. Who dared to stop him? The crowd gasped. Everyone held their breath. They all turned to look. A woman stood there holding Stone's arm. She was not from Red Rock. Nobody had seen her before. She wore pants like a man and riding boots covered in dust. Her dark hair was pulled back tight. Her face was hard and serious. She looked at Stone with eyes that showed no fear at all. "Let go of me," Stone said through his teeth. "Do you know who I am?" The woman did not let go. "I know what you are," she said in a calm, clear voice. "You are a man who beats a dying animal while people watch."
The woman's hand stayed tight on Stone's arm. She twisted his wrist just a little bit. Stone had to drop the whip. It fell in the dust. The woman let him go and then stepped between Stone and the horse. She protected Desert Wind with her own body. Stone rubbed his wrist. His face was very red now. "You made a big mistake, woman. Nobody touches me. Nobody stops me. The sheriff will put you in jail for this." The woman did not move. She did not look scared. "Call the sheriff then. I want to talk to him too." People in the crowd whispered more. Who was this stranger? Why was she not afraid of William Stone? Stone was the most powerful man in 3 counties. People did what he said, but this woman acted like he was nobody. The woman knelt down next to Desert Wind. She touched him very gently. The horse's eye rolled toward her, but he was too weak to move away. She looked at his cuts and wounds. She felt his broken leg with careful fingers. Her face got more and more angry as she checked each injury. "How long has this horse been without water?" she asked without looking up. "That is my business, not yours," Stone said. "Answer me. How long?" Her voice was sharp like a knife. Something in her tone made Stone answer, even though he did not want to. 2 days. Maybe 3. He can drink when we get to my ranch." The woman stood up slowly. She was not very tall, but somehow she seemed bigger than Stone. "This horse has a broken leg. His wounds are infected. He is dying from no water and too much heat. You rode him like this? For how many days?" 3 days. I had important business in Silver City." Stone's voice was not as strong now. He looked around at the crowd. Their faces were changing. The cowboys who laughed before were not laughing now. The women looked angry. Even the men looked uncomfortable. "Important business," the woman repeated. Her voice was cold. "More important than this animal's life. He is my horse. I own him. I can do what I want with him." "No, you cannot." The woman reached into her jacket pocket. She pulled out a leather wallet. She opened it and showed a silver badge inside. The badge caught the sunlight and shined bright. "My name is Kate Morgan. I work for the United States government. I am an investigator with the Bureau of Animal Welfare." "Do you know what that means, Mr. Stone?" Stone's face went from red to white. Very pale. The crowd started talking all at once. The Bureau of Animal Welfare was new. The government made it 3 years ago. They investigated people who hurt animals badly. They had power. Real power. Even rich men like Stone had to listen to them. You have no right to be here," Stone said. But his voice shook a little. "This is Texas. We do things our own way here. The Bureau has authority in every state and territory," Kate said. "When animals are abused, I have the right to investigate. I have the right to take animals away from bad owners. And I have the right to arrest people who break the law." She pulled out a small notebook from another pocket. She opened it and read from the pages. "I have been following reports about you for 4 months, Mr. Stone. I have statements from 3 ranch hands who used to work for you. They say you go through horses very fast. You ride them until they are hurt or dead. Then you buy new horses and do it again. Stone's mouth opened, but no words came out. Kate kept reading. I have a statement from the doctor in Silver City. He said you brought a horse to him last year. The horse was so sick and hurt that he told you to put the horse down. End his suffering. But you refused. You said it cost too much money. You took the horse away, and nobody saw that horse again. That doctor is a liar, Stone said quickly. He wants to ruin me because I would not pay his high prices. I also have a statement from the man who sold you this horse, Kate continued. She pointed at Desert Wind. He sold you a healthy, strong horse 2 years ago. He told you this horse came from a special bloodline. His grandfather was a cavalry horse. A hero. This horse should have been treated with respect. Instead, you destroyed him. An old man pushed through the crowd. He wore an old army uniform that was faded and torn. He walked with a cane. His face was wrinkled and weathered from many years in the sun. That horse, the old man said in a shaky voice. I know that horse. Not him exactly, but his grandfather. I served in the cavalry. I knew Desert Thunder. That was the grandfather's name. He was the bravest horse in our unit. He saved my life once. Carried me 20 miles with an arrow in his shoulder. Never stopped. Never quit. The old man's eyes filled with tears. He looked at Desert Wind lying broken in the dust. This is Thunder's grandson. I can see it in his face. In his marking. That white star on his forehead. Same as his grandfather. The old man's voice got louder. And you did this to him? You broke Thunder's grandson. The crowd's mood changed completely now. People started getting angry. They knew the cavalry horses. Those horses were legends. They won battles. They saved soldiers. To see one of their descendants treated like trash made them furious. A woman in the crowd shouted, "Shame on you, William Stone." Another man yelled, "You are not fit to own a dog, much less a horse like this." Stone looked around wildly. The people who used to fear him now looked at him with disgust. Even his own ranch hands in the crowd were backing away. They did not want to be connected to him anymore. "This is ridiculous," Stone said. "You people are acting crazy over a horse. Just an animal. I will buy another one tomorrow." Kate stepped closer to Stone. She was much shorter than him, but he stepped backward like he was afraid. "You will never own another animal again," Kate said quietly. "I am placing you under arrest for animal cruelty. The sheriff will hold you until the federal marshal arrives. Every animal on your ranch will be examined. Any that are hurt or sick will be taken away. You will pay fines. You will go to court, and you might go to prison. The sheriff works for me," Stone said desperately. "He will not arrest me." Kate looked across the square. "Sheriff, are you here?" A man wearing a star badge pushed through the crowd. He was older, with gray hair. He looked nervous. Everyone knew the sheriff did what Stone told him to do. Stone paid him money. Stone got him elected. The sheriff owed Stone everything. The sheriff looked at Stone. Then he looked at Kate's badge. Then he looked at the horse lying in the dust. Then he looked at all the angry faces in the crowd. "Federal law beats local law," the sheriff said finally. "I have to follow the federal investigator's orders." He pulled handcuffs from his belt. "William Stone, you're under arrest." Stone's face went through many emotions. Shock, anger, fear. "You cannot do this to me. I own half this county. I will have your job." "You do not own me anymore," the sheriff said quietly. He put the handcuffs on Stone's wrists. "I have been looking the other way for too long. I knew what you did to your animals. I just did not have the courage to stop you. But now I do." The crowd cheered. Some people clapped. The old cavalry soldier saluted as the sheriff led Stone away toward the jail. Kate turned back to Desert Wind. The horse was still breathing, but very weak. She knelt beside him again. "We need help," she called out. "Water, clean cloths, bandages, and someone find the town veterinarian. Now." The crowd exploded into action. People ran to help. The woman who spoke before brought a bucket of water. A young man brought clean rags from the general store. Children ran to find the animal doctor. Kate gently lifted Desert Wind's head. She let a little water touch his lips. The horse's tongue moved. He was trying to drink. She gave him small sips, very slowly, so he would not get sick. The old cavalry soldier knelt on the other side of the horse. He put his hand on Desert Wind's neck. Your grandfather never gave up, he told the horse softly. You have his blood. You have his strength. You can fight this. Please fight. Desert Wind's ear moved just a little. He heard the old soldier's voice. And somewhere deep inside, in the place where his grandfather's courage lived, something sparked. A tiny bit of will to survive. The sun was still hot overhead. Kate worked quickly on Desert Wind. She poured water on a clean cloth and wiped the dirt and blood from his mouth. The horse's lips were cracked and dry. His tongue was swollen from no water for so long. Kate was very careful. She knew too much water too fast could kill him. Just a little bit at a time, she said softly to the horse. I know you're thirsty, but we have to go slow. More people came to help. A man brought a big piece of wood that was flat and smooth. We can use this to carry him, the man said. My wagon is just down the street. Kate looked up at him. Thank you, but we cannot move him yet. He is too weak. Moving him might kill him. The old cavalry soldier still sat beside Desert Wind. His hand never left the horse's neck. He talked quietly, telling stories about Desert Thunder, the grandfather. He told how thunder ran through fire to save soldiers. How thunder swam across a flooded river with 3 wounded men. How thunder stood guard for 2 days without sleep when enemies were near. You come from heroes, the old soldier told Desert Wind. Your grandfather never quit. Never. Even when he was shot. Even when he was tired. He kept going because that is what heroes do. Desert Wind's breathing changed a little. It was still weak, but maybe slightly stronger. His eye opened more. He looked at Kate and then at the old soldier. Something in that look said he understood. He was trying. The town veterinarian arrived. His name was Doc Harrison. He was a short man with a gray beard. He carried a black bag full of medicine and tools. He knelt down and examined Desert Wind carefully. He looked at the broken leg. He smelled the infected wounds. He listened to the horse's breathing and heartbeat. When Doc Harrison stood up, his face was very serious. This horse should be dead already. The infection alone should have killed him. The broken leg, the dehydration, the exhaustion. Any one of these things is very bad. All of them together. He shook his head. I have never seen a horse survive this much damage. Kate stood up to face him. Can you help him? Can you save him? Doc Harrison was quiet for a moment. I can try, but you need to understand. Even if he lives, his leg will never heal right. He will always walk with a limp. He will never run fast again. He will never carry a rider for long distances. The life he had before is over. But he will live? Kate asked. Maybe, if we can fight the infection. If we can get enough water and food in him. If his heart is strong enough to keep fighting. It is maybe 50-50. Maybe less. Kate looked down at Desert Wind. The horse was watching her with those big brown eyes. In those eyes she saw pain. But she also saw something else. A spark. A refusal to die. The same thing his grandfather had. The thing that made him special. We try, Kate said firmly. We do everything we can. Doc Harrison nodded. All right. I will need lots of help. This will take all night. Maybe longer. The crowd pressed closer. Everyone wanted to help. Mrs. Chun from the restaurant brought soup. For you, she told Kate. You need to eat. You cannot help the horse if you collapse too. A young boy brought a blanket. For the horse, he said shyly. When it gets cold tonight. The blacksmith came with his tools. When the horse is stronger, I can make him a special shoe for that bad leg. Something to help him walk better. The woman from the general store brought medical supplies. Bandages, ointments, everything Doc Harrison might need. No charge, she said. This is for Desert Wind. Kate looked around at all these people. Just 2 hours ago they had laughed at this horse. They had stood by and done nothing while he suffered. But now they were different. Now they cared. Now they wanted to make things right. Thank you, Kate said to all of them. Thank you for helping. Doc Harrison opened his black bag. He took out bottles and tools. We start with the infection. That is the most dangerous thing right now. If the infection gets in his blood, he dies. No question. He cleaned the wounds very carefully. Desert Wind flinched when the medicine touched the cuts. The pain must have been terrible. But the horse did not try to kick or run. He just lay still and accepted the treatment. Like he knew these people were trying to help him. Kate held the horse's head in her lap. She stroked his nose and talked to him constantly. You're being so brave. I know it hurts, but Doc Harrison is making you better. Just hold on. Keep fighting. The old soldier helped hold the horse steady when Doc Harrison worked on the broken leg. The leg was very bad. The bone had broken and then healed wrong because nobody treated it. Doc Harrison had to break it again to set it properly. Desert Wind screamed when it happened. The sound made everyone in the crowd cry. I am sorry, Doc Harrison said to the horse. I am so sorry, but this is the only way to help you. He wrapped the leg in a splint made from wood and tight bandages. It would take months to heal. Maybe it would never fully heal. But at least now the bone was straight. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. The afternoon became evening. The sky turned orange and pink. But nobody left. The whole town stayed to watch, to help, to hope. Kate poured more water into Desert Wind's mouth. He drank more easily now. His throat worked better. His tongue was less swollen. These are good signs. Small signs, but good. Doc Harrison cleaned the last wound and wrapped it with a bandage. He sat back and wiped his forehead. That is all I can do for now. The rest is up to him. We need to keep giving him water through the night. Small amounts every 30 minutes. And we watch for fever. If he gets fever, the infection is winning. I will stay with him all night, Kate said immediately. I will stay too, said the old soldier. We will all stay, said Mrs. Chun. We will take turns. Nobody should be alone. A man brought lanterns as the evening became night. The warm yellow light made a circle around Desert Wind. People sat in a ring around the horse. Some talked quietly. Some prayed. Some just watched. Kate felt something she had not felt in a long time. Community. These people who had been strangers were now united by one purpose. Save this horse. Make up for their earlier cruelty with kindness now. Around midnight, something changed. Desert Wind lifted his head. Not much, just a few inches off the ground. But it was movement, voluntary movement, the first real sign of strength. The old soldier laughed through his tears. There it is. There is that Thunderblood. He is fighting back. Kate gave Desert Wind more water. This time the horse drank more eagerly. His tongue lapped at the water like he finally believed he might live. Good boy, Kate whispered. Good, brave boy. You're going to make it. I know you are. But even as she said it, she knew the next few hours were critical. The horse was still in terrible danger. The infection could still kill him. His heart could still give out from exhaustion. They were not safe yet. Not by a long way. The night was long and difficult. Kate sat beside Desert Wind for hours. She checked his breathing every few minutes. She touched his neck to feel for fever. She gave him water when it was time. The old cavalry soldier stayed on the other side of the horse. He never stopped talking softly about Desert Thunder and the old days. Around 2 in the morning, Desert Wind started shaking. His whole body trembled. His breathing got fast and rough. Kate's heart sank. This was what Doc Harrison warned about. Fever. The infection was fighting back. Doc Harrison, Kate called out. We need you. The veterinarian had been resting against the stable wall. He jumped up and rushed over. He put his hand on Desert Wind's forehead. The horse was burning hot. The fever is here, Doc Harrison said grimly. This is the crisis point. If we can break the fever, he lives. If we cannot. He did not finish the sentence. What do we do? Kate asked. We cool him down. Slowly. Too fast, and we shock his system. Too slow, and the fever cooks his brain. Doc Harrison turned to the crowd. I need cool water. Not cold. Cool. And lots of cloths. People ran to help. They brought buckets of water from the well. They brought every cloth and towel they could find. Kate and Doc Harrison soaked the cloths and laid them carefully on Desert Wind's body. On his neck, his sides, his legs. They worked together in a rhythm. Soak, place, wait, remove, repeat. Desert Wind's shaking got worse. His eyes rolled back. White foam came from his mouth again. He made a sound deep in his throat, a sound of pain and fear. Stay with us, Kate said urgently. Do not give up now. You have come so far. Stay with us, Desert Wind. The old soldier leaned close to the horse's ear. Your grandfather fought off 3 Confederate soldiers while wounded. He did not quit. You cannot quit either. You hear me, boy? Thunderblood does not quit. An hour passed, then another. The fever did not break. Desert Wind got weaker. His breathing slowed down. His body stopped shaking, but not in a good way. He was shutting down, giving up. Kate felt tears on her face. She had seen many animals die in her work, but this one felt different. This horse had become a symbol. If he died, it meant all their efforts were worthless. It meant Cruelty won. She could not accept that. "Please," she whispered to the horse. "Please fight. We need you to fight." Just before dawn, when the sky was still dark but started to show a hint of light in the east, something changed. Desert Wind took a deep breath. A real breath. Stronger than before. His body relaxed. The fever broke. Doc Harrison checked the horse quickly. He put his ear to Desert Wind's chest. He felt the horse's forehead. A smile spread across his tired face. "The fever is down." He did it. The horse did it. The crowd erupted in cheers. People hugged each other. Some cried with relief. The old soldier put his head down on Desert Wind's neck and sobbed like a child. Kate sat back, exhausted. She had not slept at all. Her clothes were soaked with sweat and water from the cloths. Her hands were shaking, but she smiled. They had won this battle. Desert Wind was still alive. As the sun rose over Red Rock, painting the sky pink and gold, Desert Wind opened his eyes fully. He looked around at all the people surrounding him. Then, slowly, carefully, he tried to lift his head. It was difficult. His muscles were weak, but he did it. He held his head up for a few seconds before lowering it back down. "He is awake," Mrs. Chun said happily. "Really awake." Kate offered water, and this time Desert Wind drank eagerly. He was thirsty. His body wanted to live, wanted to heal. Doc Harrison examined the horse again in the morning light. He checked every wound, every bandage, the splinted leg. "The infection is fighting back, but we are winning. The wounds look better. Less red, less swelling. If we keep treating them, they will heal." "And his leg?" Kate asked. "Time will tell, but I think he will walk again. Not run, not carry heavy loads, but walk, yes." It was good news. Better than anyone expected last night. As the morning went on, more news came. The federal marshal arrived from the territorial capital. He was a big man with a thick mustache. He listened to Kate's report. He read her notes. Then he organized a team to go to William Stone's ranch. "We will check every animal," the marshal said. "If we find more abuse, Stone's punishment will be much worse." Kate wanted to go with them, but she could not leave Desert Wind. Not yet. So the marshal took the sheriff and 6 deputized townsmen. They rode out to Stone's ranch, which was 5 miles outside of town. They came back 3 hours later. What they found made everyone angry all over again. 12 horses, the marshal reported to the crowd gathered in the square. 12 horses in bad condition. Not as bad as Desert Wind, but bad. Underfed, wounds not treated, living in dirty stalls with no clean water. The old soldier's face turned red with rage. 12? He did this to 12 horses. We seized all of them. They're being brought to town now. Doc Harrison, you will have your hands full." Doc Harrison nodded. "I will treat them all. The town will help me." "There is more," the marshal continued. "We found a pit behind the barn. 5 dead horses buried there. Looks like they died in the past year. Stone just buried them and forgot about them." The crowd gasped. 5 dead horses, plus Desert Wind, almost dead, plus 12 more suffering. William Stone was not just cruel. He was evil. "He will go to prison for a long time," the marshal promised. "I will make sure of it. The judge needs to see what kind of man he is." Kate stood up. Her legs were stiff from sitting all night. "I want to testify at his trial. I want to tell the judge everything." "You will get your chance," the marshal assured her. By noon, the 12 horses from Stone's ranch arrived. They were thin and scared, but they could walk. Doc Harrison and volunteers started treating them immediately. The blacksmith built temporary stalls in his large workshop. Mrs. Chun organized food donations. The whole town came together to help. Desert Wind watched all this activity. He seemed to understand that other horses were being saved because of him, because he survived, because he refused to die. Kate sat with him and stroked his nose. "You started something," she told the horse. "You changed this town. You made people care." The old soldier brought an apple. He cut it into small pieces and fed them to Desert Wind one at a time. The horse ate slowly, carefully. Each bite was difficult, but he kept eating. "Your grandfather would be proud," the old man said. So proud. That afternoon, Kate sent telegrams to her office in Washington. She reported everything: the abuse, the arrests, the rescue. Her boss sent back a message: "Well done. This will be a landmark case. The whole country will hear about it." Kate hoped that was true. She hoped Desert Wind's story would make people think, would make them treat animals better, would make cruel people face consequences. As evening came again, Kate finally allowed herself to rest. Other volunteers took over watching Desert Wind. She went to the hotel and slept for 4 hours. When she woke up, the first thing she did was go back to check on the horse. Desert Wind was sitting up, not standing, but sitting. His front legs were straight. His head was up. He looked at Kate and made a soft sound. A greeting. "Hello, brave one," Kate said, her heart full. "You look so much better." The old soldier sat nearby, keeping his constant vigil. He tried to stand an hour ago. Could not do it yet. But he tried. That is what matters. He is fighting. Kate knew then that Desert Wind would survive. The worst was over. Now came the long road to recovery. But the horse would walk that road. She was certain. 3 weeks passed. Desert Wind got stronger every day. The wounds on his body healed slowly. The infection went away. His broken leg was still in the splint, but Doc Harrison said it was mending well. The horse could stand now. He could walk a few steps, though he limped badly on the injured leg. The old cavalry soldier, whose name was Thomas Gray, came to visit Desert Wind every single day. He brought apples and carrots. He brushed the horse's coat until it shined. He talked about the old days and told stories. Desert Wind seemed to recognize him now. When Thomas arrived, the horse would make a soft sound and turn his head toward him. "I think he likes you," Kate said one morning as she watched them together. Thomas smiled. His old wrinkled face looked happy. "I like him too. He reminds me of Thunder. Same spirit, same heart." Kate had stayed in Red Rock much longer than she planned. Her job usually meant moving from town to town, investigating complaints, rescuing animals. But she could not leave yet. She needed to see this through. Needed to know Desert Wind would be okay. The 12 other horses from Stone's ranch were recovering too. They gained weight. Their wounds healed. They started to trust people again. Families in town adopted some of them. The blacksmith took 2. Mrs. Chun took one for her son. Others went to nearby ranches where Kate personally checked the owners were good people. William Stone's trial happened in the 3rd week. The courtroom was packed. Everyone in Red Rock came to watch. The judge was an old stern man with white hair. He listened to all the evidence. He heard from Kate, from Doc Harrison, from the ranch hands who used to work for Stone, from the people who saw Desert Wind collapse in the street. Stone's lawyer tried to defend him. He said Stone was a respected rancher. He said the horses were just property. He said this was how things were done in the West. But the judge did not agree. He looked at the photographs Kate had taken. Pictures of Desert Wind lying in the dust. Pictures of the other horses with their ribs showing. Pictures of the pit where 5 horses were buried. "This is not how we do things," the judge said firmly. "Not anymore. Animals feel pain. They suffer. And the law now protects them. Mr. Stone, you are a disgrace to ranchers everywhere. Good ranchers care for their animals. They treat them with respect. You treated these horses like they were nothing." The judge sentenced Stone to 3 years in prison. He also fined Stone $5,000. The money would go to pay for the horse's medical care and to support the Bureau of Animal Welfare. And Stone was banned from ever owning animals again for the rest of his life. When the sentence was announced, the courtroom erupted in applause. Stone's face went white. He tried to speak, but the judge ordered him removed. Guards took Stone away to start his prison sentence. Kate felt satisfied. Justice had been served. But the real victory was not the punishment. It was what happened after. Red Rock changed. The town that laughed at a dying horse became known for something better. They became the town that saved him, that cared, that stood up to a powerful man and said no more. Other towns heard the story. Newspapers wrote articles about Desert Wind, about Kate's investigation, about the town that found its conscience. The story spread across the territory and beyond. More people started reporting animal abuse. More investigators were hired. The Bureau of Animal Welfare grew stronger. But for Kate, the most important moment came 1 month after Desert Wind collapsed in the street. She stood with Thomas Gray in a small meadow behind his house. The grass was green and soft. A creek ran through it, providing fresh water. A simple shelter stood in one corner, built by men from the town. This was Desert Wind's new home. Thomas had asked if he could keep the horse. "I have nowhere to be," he said. "No family left. I can spend my days caring for him. It would be an honor." Kate said yes immediately. She knew Thomas would give Desert Wind a good life. The life he deserved. Now, they watched as Doc Harrison removed the splint from Desert Wind's leg. The bone had healed as well as it could. The leg would always be crooked. Desert Wind would always limp. But he could walk. He could move around. He could live without pain. When the splint came off, Desert Wind stood carefully. He tested the leg, put weight on it. It held. He took one step, then another. Then he walked in a slow circle around the meadow. Thomas laughed with joy. "Look at him go. He is walking." Desert Wind limped heavily, but his head was high. His eyes were bright. His coat gleamed in the sunlight, that deep brown color that looked almost red when the light hit it right. He was thin still, but gaining weight every day. He was alive. The horse walked to the creek and drank. Then he tore up some grass and ate. Simple things. Things he could not do a month ago when he lay dying in the dust. Kate felt tears in her eyes. This was why she did this work. For moments like this, to see an animal get a second chance, to see suffering turned into healing. Desert Wind walked back to Thomas. The horse lowered his head, and Thomas put his arms around the horse's neck. They stood like that for a long moment. An old soldier and a broken horse. Both survivors. Both fighters. Both refusing to give up. "Thank you," Thomas said to Kate. "Thank you for saving him." "He saved himself," Kate replied. "I just gave him a chance." She was right. Desert Wind had chosen a fight. Chosen to survive. Even when his body wanted to quit. Even when death would have been easier. He fought because fighting was in his blood. His grandfather's blood. Thunder's blood. Kate left Red Rock the next day. Her work took her to other towns, other animals that needed help. But she never forgot Desert Wind. She carried his picture with her. When the work got hard, when she felt tired, when she faced cruel people who did not care about animals, she looked at that picture. The picture of a broken horse who refused to die, who inspired a whole town to be better. Years passed. Kate rescued hundreds of animals. She trained new investigators. She helped pass stronger laws. The Bureau of Animal Welfare became respected across the country. And whenever anyone asked why this work mattered, Kate told them about Desert Wind. In Red Rock, Thomas and Desert Wind lived peacefully in their meadow. The horse never ran again, never carried a rider, but he grazed in the sunshine. He drank from the creek. He accepted treats from the children who visited. He lived with dignity and without pain. On summer evenings, people from town would walk out to see them. Thomas would be sitting on the fence, and Desert Wind would be standing beside him. The old man would tell stories about Thunder, the grandfather, about cavalry charges and brave horses, about never giving up even when everything seemed lost. And Desert Wind would stand there, proof that those stories were true. That courage lived in the blood. That one horse, one moment, one choice to fight could change everything. The horse that collapsed in mockery became the horse that taught a town about compassion, about standing up for those who could not speak, about second chances and redemption. Desert Wind lived 10 more good years in that meadow. When he finally died, he was old and peacefully asleep under his favorite tree. Thomas buried him there with Thunder's old cavalry blanket, which he had kept all these years. The whole town came to say goodbye. They planted flowers on the grave. They built a small stone marker that read, "Desert Wind, grandson of Thunder. He taught us to care." And they did care. Red Rock never forgot the lesson that one broken horse taught them. The lesson that it is never too late to do the right thing. Never too late to show kindness. Never too late to fight. Because fighting is what heroes do. And Desert Wind was a hero. Not because he won battles or saved lives, but because he refused to die. Because he survived long enough for people to find their compassion. because his suffering opened hearts that had been closed. That was his legacy, and it lived on long after he was gone.